Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to get underway.
No.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to Coming of Age.
God damn it.
These are our Legion minisodes, and welcome to them. This is Alan Loosebrock,
And that is... You fucking bastard. You changed it.
I know.
You changed it. You did it on purpose. This is Chase Cummins.
just like the show.
God damn it. You're teaching lessons in our intro. Don't get comfortable, guys.
The show is crazy, and it just, it didn't really try to...
It is a struggle. I said this earlier. It is a struggle to keep up with what's happening episode to episode, let alone into how it all fits into the overall context of whatever the narrative is at this point.
Yeah, and this latest episode, chapter 14, just kind of dove into alternate realities and didn't really explain quite why.
Yeah, it's just the multiverse.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, okay, if this comes back later, it'll be worth it. But I'm wondering if it is.
I would expect it.
I would expect it to.
In any other show.
Yeah, that's true.
And I would expect. Noah Hawley knows what he's doing. I've seen enough of his writing and his like show making to know that like it's not without purpose.
Yeah.
It can't be without purpose.
Yeah. But we've also seen Fargo season 3. And I don't want to say that, but I did.
But you're not
because I
wrong.
had to.
But you're not wrong.
Yeah. But let's keep it nice and positive right now. Not talk about that, but everyone know that it's
in the back of our
lingering in the
minds.
back of my mind, and it's scaring me.
I just want to keep forgetting about Fargo season 3, and because if I include it,
that didn't happen.
it didn't. It's not real. It didn't. It's not part of it.
No,
He must know what he's doing.
it's not canon.
It's not part of the. It's not part of the show.
They're gonna reshoot it.
When season 4 comes out, it's gonna make way more sense. It's good.
Yeah, right. Fucking FXXX was just like,
You added another X.
FXXX. As I was saying that, I was like, fuck. All right. Maybe, hopefully that makes sense to people listening to it.
I think that they'll get the humor.
I didn't even mean to do it.
Don't admit that.
Yeah.
It's not canon. What he just said isn't canon. It
Yeah.
didn't happen.
I did mean to make that joke, and I'm funny.
I intend all the jokes that I make. I think about them before I say them.
My brain doesn't work like that right now.
No, not after this fucking show.
Okay, so presenting these alternate Davids, somehow tying that in the show later, cool. About it. That's the only way this episode could make sense within this narrative.
Okay, it connects it to this narrative by having the David the timeline that we know and that we've seen, and it eventually leading up to where we are in the show.
It makes it so that we know that these are all different realities of the same, our reality of the show is one of those realities as well.
Yes, one of the few
it
that they
fits
showed
them
us.
in there.
Yes. I think something this episode did well was show us some of David's powers in
Yeah.
a different kind of context,
Yeah, that was awesome.
which was really cool.
Hell yes.
It also showed us other characters in other contexts, and it was crazy. Like one of the carries.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, yeah, Hobo David is crazy. But there's like, isn't there like a young hobo and like, or like, I don't know.
I'm not sure if there was.
Okay, so there's definitely,
So definitely the David with the mustache who's on the meds, who works at the boxing place, ends up being the David that's being washed and taken care of as an old man. Like
Yeah.
those are connected. I'm pretty sure that that's 100% what they intended. Like those timelines are connected. And the same with the David, the business David, and the like all powerful, like I'm going to save the world, Jesus. David.
That's the most 100%
Yeah,
true.
Well, they directly referenced
exactly.
the earlier scene. Yeah, but I think those for sure, those two are connected. And so there was like a loose fabric to the episode by starting with shots of them and cutting between the three Davids.
Yeah.
And so like there was some kind of structure in the way they presented it to us. I don't know what it means.
Yeah. So let's talk about like business David, who is first off the coffee guy.
Yes.
He's the coffee guy, and he goes into a business meeting and he's kind of reading everyone's minds.
And he's acting very much like the David we know. But the David we know if he hadn't grown up as troubled as we have seen him.
Yeah.
Like he seems more in control of what he's capable of.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's still the fun kind of David. Like I think that's significant.
Yeah.
That's kind of his attitude in that moment.
Because his entire life he just tells everybody that he has powers, that he wants to help out or something.
Yeah.
Or
he lets people know.
yeah, he just lets people know. in
Because
this
he's
universe.
using them.
Oh my god. So he goes in and like, come on, champagne's on ice already. Sign this fucking contract. And she's like, wait, that coffee guy said something weird. He's like, don't sign it. David's like going out the door, like getting kicked out.
Yeah.
And they're not telling you the whole truth. And then she goes and talks to him. And he's just like immediately like, I can read minds. Like they're not telling you everything. Ask about this.
Yeah.
And she's like, what the fuck?
Proves it to her by
Like reads her mind.
Yeah. And tells her what she was thinking about as well. And she's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then obviously listens to him. And that's a great sequence. I'm like, oh, I could watch that movie.
Yeah, for sure.
That would be a great movie.
Well, like all of these little different realities, I was just like, a lot of these I would just watch.
Yeah.
Like, for sure.
For sure.
It showed us the best part of Hobo David, though. I was like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's great.
It showed us the best part kind of each story. Like in the time that we could see, they kind of fit in the best stuff.
I don't know. There's one part where came back from a commercial break and it's old David, or it's like business, like old David, like rich David.
Yeah.
And he's in his robe.
Yeah.
And then he's sitting across from the shadow, from Farouk.
Okay, and so that's what I wanted to mention earlier when I said that he was David when he was younger in that timeline, was acting more like David, because later in the timeline, in the scene that you're talking about, we see that they almost have come to mirror each other, literally. Like David has become like Farouk and taken on that kind of personality. We see him like torture his sister.
Yeah.
And he's like very cold. He keeps the woman around that gave him the promotion because she resents him, and he likes that about her.
It's kind of like,
and it's like Farouk.
yeah, it's like Farouk keeping Lenny around.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true.
And keeping Jermaine around as well.
Yeah, true.
And then they're just both staring at each other, and it's like this. I think it's the timeline where we see David, Farouk's still part of him, the Shadow King's still a part of him, but David just grew into it and becomes like Farouk.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. That was awesome.
It's a crazy timeline. It's the most interesting timeline, I think.
Well, besides the one we're in now.
Well, obviously. Out of the ones we saw in this episode is what I'm containing most of my comments to just what happens in this episode.
I know. All right.
Oh, jeez. I'm sorry, man.
So Mustache David like works at Sunshine Dairy Farm or some shit. Not farm, but like dairy products. And he's like fucking not chill.
Not at all.
He has a lot of anxiety. He's like, I don't know. He's like
He's very
Napoleon
frightened.
Dynamite.
Yeah, kind of. Like Napoleon Dynamite if he was suffering from some severe mental issues.
Yeah, which he is. Fuck you, John Heater.
What happened to you, John Heater? It's really
You were gonna be America's brightest star.
you and your tots and your Wolverines.
God damn it. Okay, so we cut one time like away from all these realities into another reality where David's like fucking looks like he's beat up to shit and he's like on a bunch of drugs.
Okay, want to say that the David that's at the desk,
Yes.
who sees the dancing mouse, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Well, you brought it up.
But we're going to talk about it because you talked about. But I think they're the same Davids.
Oh yeah.
Because when he starts sniffing the glue and then it cuts back to it, the next cut, like it's towards the end of the episode, is David eating the fries and it's like showing.
See, I was
you.
not catching this shit. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Okay.
Yeah, and you're just
That's
seeing
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's just like odd to I don't know. You'd really have to catch it with like cuts and things like that because it's
They're
hard
using
to
the
tell.
edit to tell
Yeah,
you.
they're using the edit to tell you because it's really hard to tell like how much David has aged sometimes.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
yeah, and they have the same actor playing so many different like variations of the same character.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be difficult. They're smart in the way they're cutting it because it tells you who's connected.
Yeah, for sure.
At least in this episode, I think that's what they were doing.
Yeah, so like is he the David that is in the like cellar office? like he's just like going crazy. I feel like
Well,
his
or he's just sitting there like a paper pusher, and then
Yeah.
the mouse dances, and it's like him with his powers.
Yeah, I think it's his powers like fucking making him think he's a crazy person again. But like just like being so like bogged and contained that it's like I don't know, it's very strange. But like
I mean, the way they shoot that office is it's like very, I don't know, it's very strange. It's like very dark, and it looks like he's almost in like a cell of an office.
yeah, very solitary.
Yeah. But I think he's like the one he's the one who provides the thesis for the whole episode. He's the David in the diner ranting about the multiverse, and like,
Yeah, he's crazy.
but that's what's happening in the show. So he's the drug addict who can see through it all, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, and he starts talking about like suburbs, David. Too.
Oh yeah, I love that
And just
part.
like
though.
yeah, all the whoa, I have waffles. Like,
Y'all want some waffles?
oh my god.
It's like half in slow motion.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. And he's like, okay, so there's this tree. Like crazy David is talking to that fucking like dude who he just looks like a fucking Kyle. Like across
that was
the
a girl.
I think it was a dude.
I might be crazy.
Yeah, I think it was a guy.
No, I thought it was a chick.
I think it was absolutely a guy.
We'll verify it later.
It's 100% a guy.
I'm saying there's a 10% chance it was a girl.
100%
No,
man. Don't know what's going on downstairs. Look like a man. But he's like, okay, so there's this tree. Imagine this tree. And this tree has a branch. And then that branch has another branch. And then that branch has another branch. And he's like doing all this crazy hot French fry bullshit.
Yeah.
And he's like talking about like, okay, so like in one reality, you went to school. And like another reality, you skipped school. And you like fucking, what did he say to him?
you went to go see Point Break in the
Point
theater.
Break, yeah. And the guy's like, yeah, cool. Fucking. And then in another reality, you got sick. You went to the hospital. This guy's like, damn, dude.
He's really feeling every scenario David plays out for him.
And then it's like jumping to, after that, it's like jumping to a bunch of places, but then it's jumping to season 1, like our reality David.
Yeah.
As well, like
They show a
early
couple scenes.
David.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh shit, okay. Like,
He's part of this multiverse.
yeah, exactly. And like that really is the glue that I needed. Like, I needed something.
So I'm wondering if this is going to play into the overall show as being like David can actually tap into the multiverse as one of his powers.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
like,
fucking know.
Like travel between the dimensions, because I think maybe that's something he can do in the comic books.
I'm not sure.
I think I've read that.
I would think that would be something not necessarily from his powers even, but through some sort of
Something that just happens somehow.
yeah.
Like,
I feel like
through
it
events in
wouldn't
the
be
show.
connected to his powers, but some other event would lead to.
But then again, I wouldn't be surprised if
I wouldn't be very surprised.
Yeah. Like he is supposed to be like we don't know the extent of his powers yet.
I know, but I don't think that they would necessarily do that. So
I don't know. That's what I mean, I'm not saying I don't agree with you.
no.
I'm just saying like the show's so crazy.
it is crazy.
I mean, the Carries may invent a way to fucking travel between dimensions. I'm just wondering if like traveling between the multiverse is going to become some kind of part of it, like of the narrative. Because they introduced Sid really briefly in one of the timelines as well, in the homeless timeline.
I know, they better get fucking going though.
They got a lot of fucking gotta go. Right?
God damn it. But it's like cool like how they were showing like earlier scenes from David like in the striped shirt talking to Amy, his sister, you know, like from early season 1 stuff. And I'm like, I wonder if that was already shot.
I don't think so.
Or it was just they just shot it because it looked perfect.
They cut the shots from him as a kid in the intro, and then they did crazy lighting.
Well,
effects
yeah,
and
but
stuff
that's
to him.
easy. That's super easy. I'm sure you get enough footage on the. They didn't have like they weren't using a shit ton of shots when they showed him as a baby or a kid or anything.
They showed one shot of him as a kid where the lights started dimming around them, and it was so well done. I thought it looked like a practical effect. And I mean, maybe they were just takes.
It very well
from the
may have been
first-
because they shot a lot of stuff like
They probably cut
with
it.
that kid for sure.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Evil shit too.
Yeah. It's what's interesting, I think, is the idea that they might have shot some of this stuff in the first season, like when they were recording the first season, and they're just using it now. They found a way to like use shots or takes that they liked that they just couldn't fit into the first season.
Yeah. Well, with flashbacky stuff, like I think you totally work that in.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's pretty easy. The show just fucks with your sense of reality so much that it's interesting that they might be using like alternative takes and stuff that are just they're similar, but they're just different. They're just a little different.
So you talked about him seeing Sid. So like it's like a homeless version of David or something, but he's not old. He sees that shopping cart.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, whoa. And then he gets like a flash back to our reality David, like riding in the shopping cart with like some other weird fucking druggy dude. And you're just like, what? And then Sid drives by in a car or is riding in a car.
Yeah, and
she has like red
curly
hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, wait, what? What's that supposed to mean?
Yeah. And they make eye contact.
Yeah.
I think it was just supposed to be the unreality of it all. Like, in this reality, they've crossed paths this way, and it's so brief, and they connect, but they don't connect in a passing second, which is kind of a cool little thing to shoehorn in or to write in. Not really shoehorning anything. Okay, I want to talk about the scene. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, it's homeless David.
Yep. Old homeless fucking...
Like fucking Geico caveman David.
Yeah, Geico Caveman David. Sounds like a whole name.
Geico caveman David. Now casting Geico caveman David.
Okay, so he is crawling in a tunnel. Street tunnel. Very much one that looks like it's in the streets of London. And immediately, me and you, I'm sure we had this fucking same thought. You said it very shortly after, but like right when we saw that tunnel, we were like, fucking Clockwork Orange for sure.
Yeah, but I thought it was just going to be like 1 or 2 shots as an homage.
For sure. So did I.
And when it cut from the tunnel to the old man sitting there, and I was like, oh, there's a second shot that's the same shot. Like, they're using the same kind of lens or whatever, but it looks the same. That's awesome. And then
the four dudes in bowler hats come up, and you're like, holy shit.
Is this the whole scene?
We're just doing Clockwork Orange?
And then
with David?
And they go through the whole scene, line for line.
Yeah, line for line for
they
sure.
They change one thing to like the will of the Lord and Savior or something like that. Like they were speaking in American accents, so they made it fit like an American ideology. Whereas the original is like English, there's no
their God.
Whatever their practices were in the 1960s. There was no God reference. It was like the rationality or the goodwill of
there
humans.
is no God reference.
Yeah, not in the original.
No, there is no God. Anyway, so fucking incredible. Holy shit. What the hell? Insane. And then we get ultra violence, David.
It's real ultra violent.
And
he has angel wings. It looks like for a second.
He starts glowing gold.
Like wings pop out of his back.
Yeah, there's some weird shit going on his back.
It's weird shit.
It was crazy. And then he just fucking ignites and like fucking
sends out like a wave of gold and like energy like out from him, and just everything disappears.
Just vaporizes those fucking dudes.
Yeah, we were like, the shadows are still there, and it's just like actually just like
they're just like burned onto the street.
The shadows are burned. Yeah,
it's crazy as fuck.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. This is like you like think like vaporize and like what kind of marking that would make, but no, it's literally just the shadows, like where their shadows were.
Yeah,
like that's insane.
Yeah,
I love that.
It was so good. It was so interesting, and what I don't know how or why they went with a Clockwork Orange like homage right there. I'm sure it's significant. I mean, I can tell you some like superficial significance it has, but like I'm gonna have to rewatch the episode to get into it. But it's awesome.
Noah Hawley is just such a fan of so many things that I like.
Same.
And he's just like fucking putting them in his shows, and it's crazy awesome.
Yeah, it works for me.
And you're like, fuck. Yeah, I like Pink Floyd. Tame Impala, yeah, they're cool. Holy shit, Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, it's Stanley Kubrick in general.
Yeah, seriously. Holy fuck, it's so good. Really, really dark shit? Horrific shit?
X-Men? Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, X-Men too? That's in this?
And you're going to throw this in with everything else?
Oh my God. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about this because it's hard to place in the overall context.
I know. I'm trying to jump around because I wrote when I was making notes for this is like I'm just like, okay, there's so many scene changes all the time, just like I'm just writing shit. But let's just continue like with the old hobo. So they fucking some sort of SWAT team or some shit is like
paramilitary X-Men Division 3 shit. Yeah.
They're like going after him.
And he's just sitting in the park being homeless.
Yeah, crazy. He's like, oh shit.
Like, he realizes it, and then
you got to get away from those dudes. And then they like fucking he starts
glowing in that scene,
flying people around, and they send a drone on him.
Yeah,
and that like makes some crazy noise or something that is getting him to slow down.
Yeah.
And Carrie,
it shows her boots. And
it shows her
boots.
So
tense. I was like, who's this going to be?
Cool.
Is this going to be Carrie?
Yeah. I honestly did not even think it was going to be Carrie.
I honestly thought it was going to be like Melanie or Sid. or something like that.
I thought it was just gonna be Uma Thurman.
Yeah, I mean, it's very Kill Bill.
And they just fucking keep on going with the movie references.
Yeah. I mean, that's
And then Noah
what they're-
Hawley shows up at the end.
Hey,
And
guys.
he's got like a pipe. And he's sitting in a chair next to a fire. He's just talking about the episode.
We originally cast David Carradine, but you all know what happened to him.
Yeah, castings. It's been going on for a while.
Well, yeah, we've been this show's been in the works, and it was greenlit like 8 years ago. But then David.
Thank God we didn't make it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's fucking nuts. Like, I don't even know. It's just there's no. It's like I'm on acid, like trying to talk about it. I'm like, my thoughts.
But I said it in the middle of this episode. I was like, this is something I tried to write when I was on acid. This is 100. I'd be like, the multiverse, man. It's all the multiverse. We got to write a timeline. It's got to have all of these different things over all these different periods of time. It's all the same characters, and they're just reliving the whole lives because it's the multiverse, like tree branches, man. And you're like, somebody's listening. You're like, you don't make any goddamn sense right now. And you're like, it all makes sense to me, man.
I swear, why aren't you listening to me?
And then you're like, now I can go, okay, buddy, when I sounded crazy the other day, but if you go watch episode 6 of Legion season 2, you'll know what I was trying to say.
Yeah, so come on.
Come on.
Makes perfect sense, you
Yeah.
little dangle.
They did it. They made acid into a TV show.
Yeah, there's plenty of those.
There's a lot.
Especially if you take it and then watch it every show.
Yeah.
Fucking Apollo 13.
Yeah. Like, anything's acid when you take acid.
I took acid and Apollo 13 was on somehow.
Did you actually watch Apollo 13 on
I
OC?
did not watch very much of it. But
Was it good?
Tom Hanks was such a fucking bad actor in it.
Really?
I
love when you watch movies like that and you're like, oh,
well,
no.
I was also on acid, so I don't know if my perception was really on.
I feel like
but
my-
I was like, oh no, he's so bad. And I was like, I gotta change the channel.
I feel like when you watch stuff on acid, when you watch it again sober, you still, once you've noticed something.
Oh
you're
yeah,
like-
for sure.
you're
It's like
oh,
still
that's
there. You're like, oh yeah, that's it for 100%.
Yeah. So exactly. Dude, I remember watching, I was on acid with John Michael, and he was just started dating Christina, and she came over when I lived in Orlando, and they put on The Price is Right. And I remember thinking, Steve Harvey's evil. Like, it was so uncomfortable to
Steve
watch.
Harvey on The Price is Right? You mean Family Feud?
Family Feud. That's
Oh,
what I mean.
yeah.
And I was like, dude, this is uncomfortable. Steve, this is evil. This is evil shit. And now I can't watch Family Feud, and it still makes me think that like
That's
that shit's
hilarious.
bad.
I love Family Feud.
It's like the super
it's
deluxe
like-
stuff is perfect.
Yeah, Family Feud is like kind of scary, and that's why I love it.
Yeah, it's fucking bizarre.
It's like, like I don't know about this. I don't know about this shit.
Yeah. So sidebar, we digress.
We digress. Okay, so okay. What other scenes? Big scene is with Mustache Man.
Getting accosted by the cops.
Yes. Okay. So Mustache David is outside of his work.
And then he notices the fucking crazy yellow monster thing from season 1.
Yeah.
And it's like
Man with the yellow eyes or whatever.
And it's like transparent behind him on the
Shit,
street.
I was so happy to see that thing again.
It popped up quite a few times in this
I know.
episode.
I loved it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I was like, yes.
I was like, good. Yes.
About that shit.
That shit. And the way they do it is so perfect. Like when he's about to hang himself and you just see it cross in the background.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, fuck.
I love that.
And they do it a lot in this scene with the Mustache Davids. He's like transparent on the street and you're like, oh, fuck. And then he turns and it's right there. And
he's like in the cop car with the cop as well.
Yeah. But I will say these are the worst cops ever. They handled this situation terribly.
But that's real life.
Yeah, I know. It's scary. I'm not saying that the show did a bad job depicting reality or anything. I'm just saying.
I literally
these
saw
suck.
a video
These cops suck.
exactly like what happened to David in this episode.
Really?
I've seen a YouTube video. Like, well, I don't know if it's on YouTube, but
It's on an internet video.
yeah, like some news site. It was like, damn.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that the shit doesn't happen in real life. I'm just saying,
Yeah, they
he was just unlucky. Those were terrible cops.
Yeah, he was sketchy as fuck.
Yeah, he yelled out and to no one.
Yeah,
on the side of the street.
Yeah, so he was trying to tell them that like he worked there. He was waiting for his sister. Like I think he even said like he takes pills.
Yeah, he goes, I take pills. I'm sick. I'm having a bad episode. I'm waiting for my sister to pick me up.
Yeah, it's like, fuck, come on, cops. Listen to this guy.
Yeah. Obviously,
he literally just told you everything.
Listen to what he's saying. He's not bullshitting you. I feel like you have to take shit like that seriously.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But they start like cuffing him, and his sister shows up. And she's like, no, it's okay. Like, please don't. And they like are still cuffing him. And they like push her to like, you got to get out of here, man. Like literally push her to the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's shitty.
Yeah.
Real shitty. And that sets David.
They throw her to the ground.
That sets David off.
Yeah. He saw his sister get hurt.
He gets loose, throws one cop like up in the air. And immediately does he do the other cop in?
He looks at the other cop and he's like shaking. The other cop's like, oh fuck. And you see the new cops pulling up.
You see the gun pulling to the left, and he shoots like he misses David.
Yeah. He shoots his own car, and then like other cops start pulling up.
Yeah. And David just cubes his ass like what happened to what is the character's name from season 1? The bad guy.
The man with one eye. The Cyclops guy.
Just the eye, I think
eye,
is what they called him. Yeah, he like does kind of one of those QB things that happened to him.
And then the guy explodes inside out.
Yeah.
It was insane.
What the fuck?
It was so crazy.
It looked crazy, and then when it ended with the little explosion, I was like, oh yeah.
And then it covers his sister's face in blood. I was like, oh fuck.
That was so fantastic.
It was great. It was great. I obviously value gore in my TV shows and movies.
Yeah.
I think that's something I find entertaining. So that was good.
Done well. It was so good. I loved it. But the cops show up. They shoot him. They shoot David.
Yeah.
Shoot his ass
right in the back.
And before he dies, he like fucking goes crazy again and has this huge like beam of light come out of him, and all the cops are gone. It's
essentially what he does in the alley as the old man, and the shadows are still there.
Oh, are they in the the like cop cars?
The car shadows and stuff are still there.
Okay,
it's crazy.
Yeah, that is fucking nuts.
And then it immediately cuts to him as the paralyzed guy beating a bath, and you see a bullet wound in his back. So I think that they're saying through that cut.
Well, he died because they show his grave.
True, that was all cut in there.
Yeah.
But then I don't know, because they show the baby and then they cut to the grave. Man, it's fucking nuts. I don't know. I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the grave.
Pretty sure that's the same
for the David that got shot.
Yeah, yeah. That would make sense.
But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who else is connected besides just the one that's clear cut.
But like this is the multiverse, so like what if he died and he grows up to be a paralyzed old man?
I guess, but I think that's stretching it a little in a way that like is not understandable.
I guess.
Really, it's kind of like
it's not really understandable now.
I know, but I don't know. I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah, I mean, we're making connections based on just like assumptions, and so I mean, it's you can't really. It's like either all of it, it's parts of it are connected or parts of it aren't, but they don't really tell us what is and what isn't.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to rewatch it.
Always.
Yeah,
absolutely time. Fucking always. Jesus. So we get all the way with our own reality, David. We get all the way up to like his sister sending him to Clockworks as well.
Yeah, and then we kind of go through a really quick recap of everything from season 1 and 2.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, why is this here?
Yeah, it's very. I liked it, but it was weird.
Yeah, it was strange. It didn't really have any like epiphany at the end of it, but it was just Farouk saying like, you decide your own reality pretty much.
Yeah.
So that might,
That might have some bearing.
have some bearing.
You
hopefully.
get to choose your own reality. That's what makes me think he might have the ability to like pull from other dimensions and do cross-dimensional shit, because he can like make the reality. And so he can just go and like, what other realities are there? Let me pull from the ones I like.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts.
I mean, I feel like that's somewhere the show would go.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Jesus.
Then the fucking see you next week piece is always like frustrating to watch for me.
You're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. We got Barkin David.
Oh yeah, that was the weirdest part.
Yeah. It ends with him. Woo. Woo.
Like, wait,
What's about to happen?
the show. Wait, could you tell me that again?
Every week,
Could
though.
you repeat that one more time, please?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to repeat yourself. Wait, they did what? He said what?
David's barking.
Since when? Why? How?
I'm never gonna catch up. I quit.
This is it. This is the end of Legion. This is the end of coming of age. We've decided to stop coming of age.
Yeah, Minisode's over.
Lives over.
Okay. Well, no, we like this show. We're just trying to fucking figure shit out. Hope it
love
keeps
this
on
show.
getting better. Okay. That's all I have to fucking
That's all I
say
have to
about
say
this.
about it. Yeah. That's all I have to say
All
about
right.
it.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Find us on the internet. Bye.
Bye. Listen to our real episodes.
Bye.
Bye.